Regina against Gnango 2011. The facts are that a Polish care worker, Magna Piniuska, was making her way home from her place of work. While she was talking to her sister in Poland on her mobile phone, she was killed by a single shot to the head. She had been caught in the crossfire between two gunmen in question were 17-year-old Armel Gnango, a native of Sierra Leone, and Bandana Man. The apparent cause of the gunfight was a debt of less than £100. Gnango testified that he had fired into the air with the intention of scaring off Bandana Man, that he had never used a firearm before, and that he was in temporary possession of the firearm solely in order to sell it to a friend. Scientific examination showed that Bandana Man, not Gnango, had fired the fatal shot. After Piniuska was shot, both Gnango and Bandana Man fled the scene. Gnango was held under the doctrines of joint enterprise and transferred malice. The jury rejected Gnango's evidence, and on the 22nd of May 2008, he was convicted of the murder of Piniuska, the attempted murder of Bandana Man, and possessing a firearm with intent to endanger life. Justice Cook sentenced Gnango to detention for life for the murder of Piniuska, with a minimum term of 20 years, and imposed concurrent sentences of detention for public protection, with a minimum term of 12 years for the attempted murder of Bandana Man, and a minimum term of 5 years for possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. With the leave of a single judge of the Court of Appeal, Gnango appealed against his conviction for the murder of Piniuska and made a renewed application for leave to appeal against the minimum terms of the sentences imposed upon him for the attempted murder of Bandana Man and possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. Appeal to the Court of Appeal, Criminal Division. The court ruled that the existence of a joint enterprise in committing crime A is essential to liability, that joint enterprise can either rest on an agreement or common purpose to commit crime A, or simply aiding and abetting crime A. The court considered that simple participation in the affray with foresight, but without a joint enterprise to commit the affray, was insufficient to sustain the conviction. The court therefore allowed Gnango's appeal and squashed his conviction for the murder of Piniuska. Appeal to the Supreme Court. Result of the judgment of the Supreme Court. The Court of Appeal restored Gnango's sentence of detention for life with a minimum term of 20 years for murder, and reversed the Court of Appeal's earlier decision to increase the minimum term imposed for attempted murder. Reversal of the Court of Appeal's judgment would further complicate the law of joint enterprise and might signal approval by English courts for a more American legal policy model for dealing with street violence. Before the Supreme Court had determined the appeal, the Law Commission stated that the case relates to a fairly narrow point and that it would not offer an opportunity to case opinions are thus: if 1. Defendant 1 and Defendant 2 voluntarily engage in fighting each other, each intending to kill or cause grievous bodily harm to the other, and each foreseeing that the other has the reciprocal intention, and if 2. Defendant 1 mistakenly kills the victim in the course of the fight, Defendant 2 also is guilty of the offense of murdering the victim. The Commission concluded that legislative reform is needed